the actual play is on the back in 3 events.
We're bringing 9 new multiplayer maps to Gears of War 4, and 1 classic map has been in almost every game, Gridlock. So for a total of 10 maps that we're bringing out. We have decided to bring Gridlock back. It's been redressed, so it looks very different than Gears of War past. We wanted to show the evolution of it, and is now 25 years later. Reclaimed is like this oasis almost. It's an old farm that's been run down. It kind of has a tiered feeling to it, so like there's a higher, middle, and a lower area.
There's a lot of advantages for teams actually going up to that top area, aiming down and looking down onto other enemies from there.
At the bottom of the map, there's a sniper rifle. So if you're on the opposing side, you just go and grab that sniper rifle to try and combat that high point. Impact is just a stunning map. It's this concept of a city that's been destroyed and this airplane that's come in and just crashed into this side of a building and it's burned through there, and so you're fighting in around the wreckage of this airplane.
If you're a fan of close quarters combat, Impact is the map for you. Forge is set in this abandoned steelworks. It's got an old giant kiln that players can activate it. It shoots out this big fiery ball of death so that if there's anybody underneath it,
It just roasts anything that's in there. It's glorious.
It's always fun watching people turn it on, trying to hit other enemies, but it can also backfire on the player itself. You can end up incinerating your own teammates if they're not careful.
Lift is really unique, actually. So you're on this lift, obviously, and it's going down this huge tunnel. It's almost like you're taking a lift down to hell. And the cool thing about it is that it actually changes gameplay.
Once the lift actually hits the ground level, power weapons actually become exposed, and a whole new area of the map actually appears for players.
Harbor was one of our beta maps. It was something that we put out there early on and we took back and we've refined since then. And the dock that's attached to it has power weapons on it. And it's very vulnerable out there. It's key to controlling the map is to going out onto the dock to pick up the power weapons, but it's a huge risk-reward scenario.
Foundation is, I would say, one of our most balanced versus map, especially escalation.
It's set inside a new cog settlement. So cog settlements are built by, these robots in concentric circles from the center out.
There's 3 pathways from each spawn location. One actually takes you right down the middle, kind of in the pit of the map, and then one underground which has power weapon locations, and then on the other side there's a top-down location. There's different ways of being able to kind of approach the map, so we know that there's going to be a lot of esports players jumping in and competing on Foundation.
Relic is set in an old tomb. It's something that's very grand. It's got big ceilings, but it also has a very open sightlines down the length of the map, so you know instantly what your opponent is going to be doing.
You can get into the fight really easily, but we actually found that it's also one of the better Horde maps. So there are some really strong defense locations in that map. It's one of our favorites for playing Horde.
Fallout is set in this old UIR abandoned nuclear missile silo. It's underground, it's set deep in a cavern. You can barely see the moon through the crack in the roof. And this is exploring a time period in Gears that we haven't seen so much, which is the pendulum wars between the COG and the UIR. It has very different graphical styling.
It's dark in there, and it has cut down the middle, so you end up fighting over these sides of the map a lot. Try and grab power weapons, get over to the other side, flush the enemy from there. So it has a real sort of this side against the other side feeling to it.
This dam is a dam. The center of it is this crumbling waterworks. It's really a map that we built around Team Deathmatch, so it's a fantastic Team Deathmatch map.
Players will end up kind of spawning from each side. There's a giant line in the middle of different power weapons that players can actually grab. It's great because you see both teams coming from each side and scatter, and you'll find almost fights happening in every single location.
9 new maps and Gridlock, but our plan is to keep supporting this game going forward. We are releasing 2 new maps every month for a full year. We launched with 10, but a year from now we'll have 34 maps out there.